So let's memorize French folk song together here. Going back to some, if you've been watching the videos here about how to memorize, we're going to do a lot of the same things, just specific to French folk song. And as always, the first thing I want to do is look at the key and the range of notes. Like, what are all of the notes that I'm trying to commit to memory? Well, French folk song is great because it's just the notes of the D major scale. And knowing our D major scale is going to help us a lot. So hopefully you've been practicing D major scale a lot with all of your twinkle rhythms. Hopefully you're doing D major scale on the French folk song rhythm, like so, which will help a lot. Like this, yes? And it will also help you to do what we call the twinkle waltz variation. Now in the new or updated international version of the Suzuki books, they put the triplets back in. So hopefully you have that version. The triplets, or not triplets, but the 3 count that I'm talking about is quarter notes like French folk song. So still even a little different. It's like the triplets that are there in variation D, or the new variation D, just slowed down. Okay, so I encourage you to play this version of Twinkle to help you with French folk song. And it will also help with the memory, right? Because we're thinking in this 3 count, all right? Because our time signature is what? It's 3/4. Okay, so we're going from low D to high D. So all of the notes that we're playing in the piece are this D major scale. Okay, let's look at the first line. It's easy to remember the first line because what? It's all on the A string. And if you remember from before, going by the phrase, yes, chunking it out, what are these different sections? And so how many phrases do we have in French folk song? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if you're looking here at the book, like I am, you will see that it has 5 lines, it has 5 phrases. And each line ends with what? So we have all quarter notes, that's easy to remember. And every line or every phrase, every musical sentence ends with the long note, right? Like so. So I'm thinking first phrase here. Right? Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, long note, right? For the 3 count. And all of the first phrase happens on what? The A string, yes? So from there, I just have to remember, okay, what's happening within the phrase? Well, I have 4th finger, then I have 3rd finger, so I'm going from there, going down, then back up, right? It does this kind of, I like to think about the contour. Maybe that's my photographic memory, my visual memory kicking in here, to think about the contour of the line. What are the patterns of the notes, right? So the range, you're going to hear me talk about range a lot when we're talking about memorization. So from A to D, and you're going to hear me talk about patterns a lot. So it's 3 notes repeated, 3 notes repeated, and then ascending, right? Again, go back to the scale. It's our scale, dum, dum, then to the A string. Then what happens in the second phrase? The second phrase really is just the scale, yes, the first half of the scale, or the G down to open D. Each measure is 1 note. And how many measures is a phrase? 4 measures. Always, always, always. In all the music that we're playing here in Book 1, most of the music that we play, period, 4 measure phrases. So I have 1 phrase. I'm going to play all quarter notes, and then what happens at the end of the phrase? Dotted half note, that's where the long note is. And in the second phrase, it's just G, F sharp, E, down to open D, with my French folk song rhythm, which is what? Which is the 1, 2, 3 count. So first phrase all on A string, second phrase all on D string. What happens now? The next 2 phrases kind of form what's called a sequence. And we're going to need to remember that word because we're going to talk about it again when we get to Song of the Wind. But in the third phrase, it's what? D, E, F sharp, D, E, F sharp, D, E, F sharp. It's repeated. Now, actually, repeated stuff can make memorization kind of difficult. It's like that sequence game, like the old Simon Says, right? It's also in the Dr. Seuss books that I play with my boys. But how many times, okay, do I repeat this D, E, F sharp business? Well, again, I'm thinking about the phrase. Now, if you're on French folk song and you're kind of early in your cello journey, maybe we're not quite used to feeling the phrases yet, but I think if you try, okay, if you're listening to the recordings, if you're playing along to the recordings, yes, then you're starting to feel these groups, yes, because you can feel the natural cadence as we get to the long note. Or, on the flip side, you could just count them, right? 1, 2, 3, fourth measure. 1, 2, 3, phrase. What happens in the fourth phrase? All of that up a step. And this is what we call a sequence, right? We have this relationship of notes. We have this pattern of notes. We're stepping up, repeating this. Then we're going to do that whole thing up a step. So then the fourth phrase is E, F sharp, G, E, F sharp, G. How many times? 3 times, just like in the third phrase, ending on a long note. And this is really important. The first 2 phrases, first 2 lines are like a little group, a little period. Yes, we talked about that before. Then the next 2 are another little group or a period, right? And you'll see this all the time in music where we have an 8 measure something and it's a period of music. 2 phrases, all right, or multiple phrases put together to make a little subgroup of the piece, okay? So we have measure 1 through 8 is something. Measure 9 through 16 is another something. And then the last phrase, okay, is what ends the piece. But first, let's practice 9 to 16 together as a group. Here we go, starting on the D, right? We'll repeat it 3 times, then a long note. And the next one. Yes. And how do I remember the last phrase of French folk song? It's this scale business again, right? D major scale, except this time, no repeated notes. What do we mean when we say no repeated notes? We mean notes, when we're talking about repeated notes, we're talking about a D and then a D again, like in the first measure, like in the second phrase, right? We have repeated Gs, repeated F sharps, okay? In the last line, in the last phrase, it goes straight from this high D, going straight down, okay? Then it does a little turnaround thing, the E, D, E, before what? Landing on a long note. Every line, every phrase ends on a long note. Let's play the last one together, okay? A D major, it's like a D major scale with a little something that happens at the end. I remember the thing at the end because I'm in 3/4, that's my time signature, right? These groups of 3 notes in each measure. And so I play my scale, and I know that the last note ends on a kind of a strong something, right? Again, that phrasing thing that we keep talking about. And so I remember that the turnaround happens because I have to get to that point in the phrase somehow. It's almost like I'm being propelled towards the long note. Okay, and that's how I remember to do the there at the end. Okay, so this is how we remember French folk song, how we memorize French folk song, making these connections, talking about the patterns, the phrases, okay, the individual parts, and then gluing them all together. You want to try it? Here we go. Once you try it from memory, here, see what happens. We'll play it together. And How'd you do? You might have to review it a few times, okay? I bet you did a lot better than you think, okay? So, think about the parts, think about the phrases, all right? Practice the individual periods, okay? All right, and then do it all together at the end. If you want everything I have on French folk song on this channel, check out this playlist right here. If you're at the end and you're polishing this up and you're ready for lightly row, everything I have on lightly row is right here. If you want to see a video all about memorization, that's right there. And you can subscribe to the channel right there if you're getting lots of good stuff out of this. Thanks for watching.